So I sat down over an hour ago to start recording the audio for this video, but here I am an hour later because I use an external hard drive to store all of my video files because they're so huge I don't want them eating up all the space on my computer's hard drive. But as I was trying to bring music into this working video file, it was nope, sorry, I'm full. I will do nothing for you. Luckily I happen to have a new hard drive. I bought one a while ago thinking that I would fill up my old one quicker, but anyways, so I had to unpack and plug in my new hard drive and figure out how to sync up my files from Final Cut where I edit my videos onto that one instead so that I can keep editing this video. So here I am, an hour later. Hello. I do not have the best track record for sticking to a sketchbook. This is my second Crescent Renders sketchbook. I finally filled my first one that I had been doing for about a year, and I finally finished that one and I busted out this new one, and it kind of nicely timed perfectly with the beginning of 2023. I got to crack open this new sketchbook, and I have a goal of throughout this year committing to drawing in my sketchbook more regularly. Last year I mostly just used my sketchbook for sketching out ideas before doing a bigger illustration project, but I really want to get in the habit of doing sketching more just for fun, because I think it's the best way to develop drawing skills, and it's not only that, it's just such a nice method of personal expression to just draw what you've been thinking about and what's been interesting you. It's almost can be used as journaling if you do it the right way, which is kind of what I want to do, but at the same time I also just want to get in the habit of sketching for the sake of sketching. It doesn't have to be for any particular project, it's just to do as a meditative practice and to develop my drawing skills. A secondary reason why I would like to draw more and use more sketchbooks is so that I can use up my insane stash of really cute vinyl stickers that I've gotten over the years. I definitely do belong to that group of people that has a hard time actually sticking stickers to things. I have two of my favorite vinyl stickers that I've purchased taped to my computer so I can see them every day, but I don't want them to actually be stuck there. But for some reason my sketchbook is a place where I feel yes, I can stick my stickers here. I think because they act as a form of inspiration, so when I go to draw I see all of this art from people I right in front of me before I go to draw. And also my sketchbooks are just something I'm planning to hold on to for a long time, and so I'll always regularly pull them out and see all those stickers again. So it just feels like a good, nice place to put them, that they won't go to waste and I get to enjoy them as much as possible. I was gonna do a little deep dive into who all these artists are and talk about where I got these stickers, but as a way of bribing you to talk to me in the comments, because I want to be friends, you should leave me a comment if there's any stickers that you're curious about, and I will tell you who made them and where to find them and how you can go support them, because all of the stickers on here are from independent artists, and a lot of them actually are local artists based in Edmonton, where I am from, including the one on the bottom right of the little froggy. That's actually, I will tell you about this one because that one's my sticker. It's in my shop right now. It's my favorite quote from Over the Garden Wall, the world's greatest cozy fall miniseries. I've been thinking a lot lately about where I want my YouTube channel to go. I do really love being here. I think it's my favorite social media platform, but it is a tricky one because part of the reason that I'm on here and why I am really optimistic about it is because I am hopeful that it can serve as a form of passive income. I guess not passive because I'll be continually uploading stuff, but one income stream as I work towards having more and more of my income streams be coming from creative endeavors. The problem with using this platform as a tool to hopefully become an income stream is that that depends on having enough subscribers and all of the other analytic related things that you need to make money from YouTube. But I feel like the problem with that is as soon as I am making videos with the analytics in mind, my videos are not what I want them to be. If I'm thinking about the analytics, I'm often thinking about videos that I've watched that I like and kind of trying to mimic what those videos do, which is a really useful tool in figuring out how to do what you want to do. But I think you can only do so much of that, and if your whole focus is centered around that, your videos become really inauthentic and you're not really working towards finding your own voice and your own video style, which is kind of, I feel like, what has happened to me. Like, I have kind of bounced all over the place in terms of what kinds of videos I'm making and how I'm making them, and I need to find a better balance where I am watching other videos and getting inspiration on how to do little things in my videos from that, but overall making sure that my videos are consistent with my goal for what I want to do creatively with them. Okay, small detour from the conversation for a second, because did you just notice my audio get infinitely better? That is because this whole time I have been talking into my Yeti microphone that is powered on, it's plugged in, everything I was supposed to do, but I didn't change in Final Cut which microphone the input was coming from, so this whole time, up until now, I was recording into the Mac speakers, which explains why it was sounding so crappy and I couldn't figure out why. Okay, back to talking about YouTube goals, creative goals, etc. I am someone who is constantly questioning myself, and I honestly really like that about myself. I think it makes me perpetually challenge myself to be a better person and try and learn more and keep my mind open to things, and I'm really proud about that trait about myself. But the downside to being someone who's always questioning themselves is that I am really prone to self-doubt and low self-esteem, and balancing those two things is a perpetual battle. This constant self-questioning, while helpful in some ways, does lead me to often second-guess my choices in what I post and what I create, but my goal is to really focus on getting at the root of why I'm doing what I'm doing and making sure that everything that I do comes from there. Because if I know that whatever I'm putting out into the world has been deeply thought through and it's based on my values and what I genuinely believe in adding to the world, I don't think that I will experience any of the regret or remorse about what I'm posting. And not that I've experienced that to any extreme extent, it's just like a looking back on things that I've posted and feeling like, who was that? Like, that doesn't, I'm not proud of it. I don't regret posting it, but it just doesn't feel as authentic as I want it to be. So for me, I come to YouTube for inspiration, and therefore that is what I want to provide to people who come to my channel. And for me, what I find really inspiring is just watching people do what they are drawn to and not even necessarily good at. Just watching people do things that they're passionate about. I feel like that is like the secret sauce of humanity. Like, we have a lot of problems as human beings, but one thing that is really unique about us is that we, as conscious and bipedal beings, there are so many things that we can do with our time, and it can honestly be really overwhelming a lot of the time just even considering all the things that we could do. So nothing gets me motivated to do something more than just seeing somebody else do it, because I feel like we're naturally very prone to mimicry. We want to do what we see. That's why commercials where you see delicious food just makes you want to go get that thing even if you're not hungry, because we see it, we want it. And I like to take advantage of that and go on the internet and watch people do things that I like doing because it motivates me to do it. So here I am doing something I love to do that you probably like to do too, which is probably why you clicked on this video, or maybe you just wanted someone to hang out with you while you were doing something else, and that is wonderful, and I'm so happy that you picked me for that. That feels pretty cool. So as I was mentioning as I was stickering my new sketchbook, I really hope to do a lot more drawing this year, and I have found that one of the biggest things that gets in my way of just drawing for fun is that fear of the blank page that I know every artist experiences. I flip open my sketchbook, I have high hopes for just doodling and kind of having this image in my head of making it look like a sketchbook page that I've seen some artists that I follow do, and then I just instantly get overwhelmed and don't know what to draw, and often I just end up drawing nothing, or it takes forever to find a reference that I feel like is what I want to draw, and it's just a cycle I want to avoid altogether. So my first project of 2023 was to create a little poster for myself that has a list of all of the things that I know that I find fun to draw and kind of fit my general style. I was thinking that I would, well, I'll show you on screen what the list looks like so you can have a little peek at it, but it's also available if you want to save it for your own use. Right now it's on Instagram, and I also posted it on Pinterest. I think I'll put a link to the pin, which is probably the easiest way for you to save it if you want your own copy of it. And then I think I will just put in text on screen what I'm drawing from, like the prompt that I'm drawing from, so that if you are following along and also drawing and you want a drawing prompt, it will be there and you can draw the same thing that I am. One of the things that I mentioned earlier was that I am someone who is often self-questioning, and I think one of the reasons why that has been so on my mind lately is, well, lately meaning like the last 2 years, is because I kind of made this pivot away from focusing on academics and towards art, and that has been really emotionally difficult for me. And I think the reason it's been difficult ties back into another thing I was saying earlier, which is that I want what I do to be based on my core values that I have really made a point of diving into and figuring out what they are. And one of my most core values is that I really believe that a good life comes from positively impacting the lives of people around you. I think that there is no possible world where being a selfish person and your overall goals in life are centered around self-betterment and not fostering community and connection and strengthening your relationship with others. I cannot wrap my brain around a possible world where that would work. And not that I have the answers to anything, really. I'm a 27-year-old who has seen a teeny tiny fraction of the world and what it has to offer, and I think I sound a little bit pretentious, but I know that a lot of the things I believe right now are going to change, and I'm going to learn a lot, and I'm going to change my opinion about a lot of things, but this is something I am pretty confident is just the truth. I really, really believe from the bottom of my heart that the answer to a lot of problems out there is love and connection. I do want to tag on, though, that I am not naive in believing that, like, if we just all loved more, all the problems would be solved. That is not what I mean at all. I think my opinions on the matter are a lot more complicated than that, and I'm not going to get into it right now because that is not the point that I wanted to make at this present moment, but maybe I'll save it for another video. Where I did want to go was a chat about, so because I am like a very empathetic person and I really strongly value connection and making my impact in the world having a positive impact on the lives of other people, that initially drove me to the field of psychology, and I really wanted to be a psychologist. So I went to school for that. I got a degree in honor psychology. I was like on track to go to graduate school, but I decided that instead of trying to get into grad school, I really wanted to step away from that for a bit and try and build a career based around doing creative stuff. And the reason why it's been emotionally difficult for me is that when I first made this choice, I kind of felt like it was an abandonment of those values in what I was choosing to do for work, that I was putting aside helping others and doing something empathetic and caring and for the betterment of the world with my work, and instead choosing to do something that was selfish. But even still, that didn't keep me from wanting to do this and continuing to pursue my goals. I just found myself kind of feeling bogged down by that guilt sometimes. But over time, I've kind of formed new opinions about it. One thing that I've come to believe that's helped me to learn that it's not a selfish thing to be an artist is that art can be one of the most impactful things that a person can experience. And I learned this through coming face to face with these experiences myself. I've had a couple of experiences where I really profoundly, in one day or one moment, was really deeply inspired and influenced by an artist or their message, but it's kind of been just a culmination of little influences over time. I think I used to believe that if I wasn't doing something that was very easily quantifiably beneficial to people, that I wasn't a useful person, but I've come to believe that just by meaningfully engaging with life and doing things that you're passionate about, you are giving more than enough to the world and the people around you. So for me, at least for the foreseeable future, my goal is to put creative work into the world that authentically reflects who I am and what I hope to be. And I hope that my work has a positive impact on other people, because I do really want to positively impact the lives of others. But at the end of the day, I am doing it for myself because I think that we all deserve to give ourselves a bit of a break and not feel like everything we do all the time has to be for a good reason, that we are good enough just as we are and with what we bring to the world every day, and we shouldn't feel the weight of the world on our shoulders and feel like we have to be solving every problem all the time. Another thing that I think is really important to remember is, and this is definitely an opinion, and I would be really curious to hear what other people think about this. I think that our purposes and our callings are perpetually changing. Like, I kind of feel like it's a toxic way to think that you were born to do one thing for your whole life, and that's it, end of story. Because we change so much throughout our lives, and I think that putting a standard on ourselves to love doing the same thing for all the years we get to be on this planet that's a long time, and there's so many things out there to be interested in. This is coming from a place, for me personally, where I kind of notice myself get into this cycle of all or nothing thinking. Like, if I'm going to be an artist and I want to be a full-time artist, I'm committing to do that for my whole life. And I don't really believe that. Like, when I think about it, I remember that I can change career paths at any time. By choosing not to do a psychology grad school program right now, I'm not choosing to not do it forever. I'm just listening to myself in the moment right now and what is working for me right now. And I think that, for me at least, it really helps to remind myself that the choices I make aren't the things that I am stuck with forever, in most cases. Of course, there are some choices you make in life that you're stuck with forever, like tattoos or having kids, but it's okay to invest time and energy in something just because you're passionate about it right now, and you don't have to put the pressures on yourself to love it forever. So you might have noticed that I've had my acrylic gouache paints just sitting in the corner for this whole video. I was totally planning to use those for this sketchbook spread, but then my colored pencils were just right in front of me and they were what called to me for this page. So colored pencils it is, and I actually only recently started calling them colored pencils. Growing up they were always pencil crayons, which I learned is a Canadian thing. And then as soon as that was pointed out to me, I started thinking about colored pencil versus pencil crayon, and I was like, pencil crayon is such a weird thing to call them because there's nothing crayon about them. It's just like what you call them when you're thinking, like it's like a pencil version of a crayon, which is really silly, and I think it's hilarious that that's the Canadian thing to call them. I've been slowly trying to add more animals to my repertoire of animals that I have a way of drawing them in my style. So that's where the goat and the hedgehog came from, being added to my my list and why I chose them. I've been practicing drawing hedgehogs for a couple weeks now, and I still have not figured out a way that I like to draw them. The other day I drew one that was like, you know, when they like look like a little ball like on their back with both their feet up. I figured out a way to draw them like that is kind of cute. I'm like sitting here with my hands like curled up trying to show you what I mean, but you can't see me. Yeah, hedgehogs are surprisingly hard. I went back over that first one that I drew on the left like so many times until I finally added that set of spikes that kind of changed enough for me to be happy with it. But I think it's because hedgehogs don't really have like definitive body parts. Like their head just kind of morphs into their body and their body morphs into their legs, and their legs are kind of like hidden in their tummy fur, and so that's kind of what makes them hard, I feel, because I really like to draw like simplistic versions of things rather than trying to make it look as realistic as possible. So that's, I think, the challenge with them for me. And then I really like how it like illustrated butterflies and moths look, and I find that drawing them like in analog form is a really good way to practice like symmetry and like really get the precision of my drawing down so that I make sure things match on both sides. So I really like those as drawing practice. Although it is another hard thing to draw when you're trying to draw things in a more simple way, because it's really hard to draw a good moth or butterfly that doesn't have a ton of detail. Lately I've been exploring a bit more with throwing colors into things when it's kind of unexpected. Like in this tree trunk, I've kind of added in some orange that when you look at the reference photo you can kind of see hints of like other colors in there, because in real life, like even when something is described as that thing is brown, you can see all kinds of different shades in it, especially when you're looking at things in nature. And I don't know exactly what made me realize it, but one day I kind of realized that doing that gives my work the kind of extra, like I'm always on this path to find the perfect balance between like very childlike and simple and whimsical, but like just enough realism that it doesn't look like a 4-year-old drew it. And I'm not really sure why that's the kind of art that I like to make. It's really interesting, kind of reflecting on the art you like to consume versus the art you like to make, because I mean a lot of the art that I like to consume the most is the same way, and that's kind of where a lot of the inspiration to make art in this style comes from. But it's just so, it's becoming more and more interesting to me how I'm noticing within myself a tendency to be like, I notice a distinct difference between that is beautiful and I love it and I want to look at it, versus like I want to make something like that. And it's so fascinating like what draws which reaction and how I'm noticing within myself that response for different things. I feel like this is an important reflection to make because I remember a couple of years ago kind of coming to this realization that art was something that was really fulfilling for me and I wanted to dedicate more time to it and take it seriously. When I was at that point, when I had made that decision but hadn't really put a lot of time into it yet, I really struggled with the fact that I felt like I didn't have a style and that I should just magically have one. And it's really interesting, like I have people tell me now that like I have a very distinctive style and it's like very apparent what it is, and I even find it hard to pin down, and like I can use a couple words to describe it, but to me it's just so constantly evolving that it is hard to describe and hard to put into words. And I like that. I think that if I were to see it as a fixed thing, I wouldn't be continuing to grow and learn new skills and be practicing new ways of doing things. Always trying to maintain that growth mindset, baby. We are very near the end of the video now, and I'm going to leave you with some peaceful music to cap off the end of this video, but if you are still here, I want to give you a big ol' virtual hug, and I hope you have a very lovely rest of your day, and that I will see you here again in a future video. Likes and shares and comments and all that good stuff really helps my channel grow, so don't be afraid to do any of those things if you feel so inclined. Okay, hope you have a good one. Cheers!